What I'll say is this. Most perfectionists don't even know that they're perfectionists. Worthiness and what we do are actually two very different things. Worthiness and how we perform are really not correlational. It takes a lot of strength to heal perfectionism. It takes a lot of strength.
Yeah.
People think it's like, like the applauded disorder. And I'm like,
100%.
You have no idea how much this stops people from living and also how much it stops like certain parts of life.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Real the Expert series. I am so excited for our guest today. Also, please ignore the fact that we are in a little bit of a different setting, but you guys are going to be so excited to hear this episode. If you are a perfectionist, if you've ever struggled with perfectionism or being a high achiever, feeling like you need to do it all for everyone, always, and for yourself, this episode is definitely for you. We have on Aliza Shapiro. She is the founder of Therapy in the City. They have tons of locations in tons of different cities, which is incredible. She's a licensed therapist specializing in anxiety, perfectionism, and the emotional experiences of high-achieving women. Through her work, she helps clients navigate burnout, self-worth, and the pressure to have it all, offering practical tools for building more balanced and fulfilling lives. I'm so excited to get into this episode today. Be sure, if you haven't already and you've been enjoying this series, to give this a 5-star rating and review on all platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure to follow us on all socials so you can keep up with what we're doing. Love you guys and enjoy. Hi, Aliza. It is so amazing to have you here today.
I'm so excited to be here, Carly.
We've already been like bantering and yapping, but I actually don't know your background. So I wanted to get into like how you got started into this realm, and then we'll get into perfectionism and all the things.
Amazing. Okay, I can't wait. Yeah, I feel like all that banter was so hilarious.
We're like, let's get serious.
If only we got that on recording. Yeah, I have to put my serious face on, but we'll have fun.
No, you don't.
Amazing. Yeah, so I have been a therapist in private practice for about 10 years. I went to Silberman for grad school here for social work in the city. And I went and I had my first job in private practice right after, where I worked for about 5.5 years. And then I started there just as a therapist, and then I ended up doing a lot more things. I was kind of running like people and culture by the end of it. So I was doing a lot of organization, a lot of hiring, a lot more of like people management in addition to being a therapist. And then when I left that job, I started my own private practice. It was just me by myself, and slowly but surely it got built into this incredible thing that we have now called Therapy in the City. And we're in person in 4 different locations, 2 in Manhattan, 1 in LA, 1 in Miami. And we're licensed in, I believe, like 9 states now.
That's insane.
And it's been like the light of my life, honestly.
It's like the most rewarding field, but I feel like also social work is a scary field because it's like, first of all, it's so broad. I feel like a lot of people don't know what they're going to do. Yeah. And I'm on my social work journey right now. Yeah. So it's been crazy to see, like, I really do think it's God's work, like not to toot my own kind of horn because I'm in school for it, but I really like have a new appreciation for people that work in the field.
It's kind of insane what we do.
Yeah, it really is.
You go in there for 45, 50 minutes at a time and you're like, tell me your deepest, your darkest. Don't leave anything at the door. If you're not crying, it's not working. And I just want to go there full throttle with you today. And then you do that again and again and again. And I don't know about you, but like I leave my day, well, you'll see. But like I leave my days kind of like wiped, but in the best way.
Yeah.
I have the chills thinking about it because it's not really something you could describe to other people. But I leave the end of my workday and I'm like, I'm one of those people that just loves what I do. And like you said, it's such meaningful stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So today's topic and like theme is all about perfectionism. I have always struggled with perfectionism, but my perfectionism does not look like what people would think of as perfectionism. So first of all, I want to know, like, this is one of your specialties. I feel like this is something you deal with a lot. So I want to talk about that. First of all, tell me that. Because like,
what I'll say is this. Most perfectionists don't even know that they're perfectionists.
Period.
Because if you think about it, somebody who has a constant feeling of I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I didn't go to the right school, I didn't get the right grade, I didn't say the funniest thing at the party. They're constantly looking at themselves as somebody that's behind.
Yeah.
Versus as somebody that's perfectionistic. So they're looking at themselves as this flawed being instead of as this being that's actually so whole and so good.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to attain this thing that can never be attained.
Yeah.
So for the people listening, I would just say, if you're like, I'm not a perfectionist, I get everything wrong, it's probably you that needs to hear this podcast.
That's crazy. Take me back to like how it like comes about in a person. Like, what's the root of it for some people? Is there an overarching theme for a lot of people that become perfectionists?
This is with every kind of like diagnosis that we see. There are so many factors.
Yeah.
There is your biology. Some of us were born with a more like type A personality.
Yeah.
There is also your environment growing up, right? The nature and the nurture part. There's your surroundings. There's how you were raised. If you were raised with parents that really placed emphasis on accomplishments and gave you a lot of attention and a lot of applause when you did something really well, your system as a little 4-year-old girl realizes like, oh, this is how I get love. So when you grow up and you're 27, 28, 29, why would you expect your system to change?
Right.
It's still how you feel. This is how I get love or approval or belonging. So there's nature, there's nurture, and then I think there's also the societal part of it, which is that we do live in a very perfectionistic world. We live in a world where if you're not ambitious, driven, and killing it, you're behind. Couple that with social media and you see only everybody's highlight reels and everybody's perfect bodies and their perfect weekends and their perfect trips. And you're like, if I'm not doing that, I must be doing something terribly wrong.
Yeah. And then also like the generational piece and like the cultural piece, I feel like is a huge part of it. I can't speak for other cultures, but I know it exists. For example, in the Jewish culture, I feel like everyone is taught to be super driven, go to the best schools, get the best jobs. Like it's built into our DNA kind of. Do you see that with clients a lot? Like, and I don't know if you skew more towards like Jewish clients, or I know some people kind of have that, but do you see that often?
I see all clients from all different backgrounds and cultures, but I for sure know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm also Jewish, so like I'm thinking about my own childhood and how I was raised. And there's it's true. And we are kind of geared up to be really smart and be really accomplished, but also to get into the right relationships at exactly the right time and have babies immediately and all these things that, yes, in a perfect world, we would all have if we kind of controlled that timeline, but we don't. And so there's a bit of a push and pull that can come along with that. Yeah. And I've also seen it in a lot of other cultures too. I've seen it with immigrants. Yeah.
I've seen a huge immigrant thing.
A lot in the Asian culture and cultures. And so I definitely think that that's a really important part to highlight.
Yeah. And how do you deal with that when like you're growing up and your parents are like, you do feel the pressure coming from around you in like your home?
Yeah. There's a lot of unlearning that we do in therapy.
Yeah, it's so true. Can we get into like actual like what is perfectionism and like how do you define it? How do you know if you have it? Because I know we kind of touched on that, but like if you really went down to like the bare bones of it, like what is it?
So another thing that I'll say about any real diagnosis is it's when almost like things that are a natural part of your personality, so to speak, start interfering with your life. So if you're driven and you're ambitious, great.
Right.
Do well. Have a great career. That's awesome. But once it starts impacting the rest of your life, then you know that it's something that you should kind of, raise the flag and say, is there something more going on here?
Yeah.
Perfectionism is a big spectrum. So I would say on one side of the spectrum, it's people who present really anxious and hold a lot of internal anxiety, whether or not the world knows it. And that can show up as social anxiety. That can show up as like kind of self-directed anxiety. Like my body needs to be perfect. My thoughts need to be perfect. My emotions always need to be in control. And there's also like performance anxiety, showing up in front of a room or in front of a group of people or in front of a camera, performing in any way, right? Like that gives me anxiety. So there's kind of like that world of the anxious. And then I would say on the other side of the spectrum is the people who have what we call the driven personality. Diagnostically, we would call it like more kind of like OCPD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder, where everything in their life is about metrics and is about accomplishment.
I'm like,
ooh, ding, ding. Okay, well, let's get into that. But
well, literally, I'm like, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. But again, some of the signs to look out for are my relationships kind of taking a hit?
Mm-hmm.
Is my friendship group kind of taking a hit? Are the things outside of metrics, work, things that you can measure on a paper, on a yardstick, are those things that I'm just like not paying as much attention to, because what's the point?
Right.
And if that's starting to happen, then that's another signal that something about your life is highly imbalanced and you're going to burn right out.
That's so crazy, because like you think of someone with perfectionism as someone that is doing the things, but actually you're saying that someone that is a perfectionist actually can kind of be paralyzed by it
100%.
and not doing anything, because they're like, if I start doing this thing, it will never be good enough. I see that in myself so much. I see that in my family members so much. I'm like looking at my sister. But like I think honestly, like a lot of my whole family, everyone is perfectionists, but it all comes out in different ways.
Interesting.
For me, I also suffer from ADHD. I'm an anxious person. And my whole life, I felt like a perfectionist internally. But externally, I can't start.
Yeah.
And this, maybe some of it's perfectionism, some of it's not. Like, can't start cleaning the apartment because it needs to be perfect when I do it. But it doesn't come out for me for speaking engagements or podcasts or that stuff. Like, that's stuff that I feel comfortable in with my body. You would never look at me and be like, oh, she's a perfectionist. Like, she's really strict and whatever. But I am. But internally I am. Like, the wheels are always turning. Relationships, I think I'm like, work. It's constant.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
A perfectionist isn't somebody that you would look at on the outside per se and say like, oh yeah, that person is definitely.
Yeah.
Because it's oftentimes the people who, like you said, have a desire to do something, but that fear of doing it imperfectly is completely taking over their life.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like, if you're in that position and you feel it, I mean, I know we can't speak to every single thing at the same time, but let's say work, for example, because I think that's like a huge one for a lot of people. If you are feeling really unmotivated to be working, you know you want to do something with your life, but you're like, I can't start. Where do you go from there? What work do you do?
Sometimes
that internal work, not like work.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes before you dive into like, what do I do? You have to ask yourself, what's my blockage? So a really helpful question is to say, what is this resistance? And instead of judging it, be like, I'm a perfectionist. This is like a habit that I cannot, crack, and it keeps like, ooh, we're adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
So when you're reflecting and when you're going through that process of, hey, what's the resistance? To do it with a lot of compassion and a lot of gentleness, and to say, almost like you're honoring it. Like, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what your fears are about perfectionism or anxiety or stuckness. Like, talk to me.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're trying to say so that I can listen and so that I can help you.
Yeah.
And then and we don't have to use you as an example, but we can, like, what would be something stopping somebody from getting into like their work life and being motivated again? Like, what would that resistance potentially be about?
I mean, it's like, I don't know, being better than everyone else. I think, like, for me at least, let's say, I think my resistance sometimes is like, but if I do it, I won't be as good as my peers that do it.
Can we go there for a second?
Yeah, let's go there.
And for you, because I understand why that would be scary for people, but for you personally, like, what comes up when you think about that? You not being as good as somebody else?
Like, I'm just not worthy. Like, then and like, this is like something that like I'm actually actively talking about with my therapist. Like, it's like, she's like, and then what? Like, you're not worthy, and then what? And I'm like, then I'm not worthy. Like, I'm not good enough.
That's
and then
the
I'm not fulfilling my purpose in life, which is like to be successful and to be worthy and for people to love me. And, so that's like what comes up with it a lot.
And I think that's so valuable, because it's so funny. We were just talking about this morning, but worthiness and what we do are actually two very different things. Worthiness and how we perform are really not correlational. And the reason I asked that question is because very often what we feel we're anxious about has a very different root. And when we're worried about not being good enough. But we understand that the thing beneath that is worthiness. We have to answer a whole different set of questions.
Right. So then it's like, okay, so then what? Then where do we go from there?
So we talk about worthiness. And we talk about whether worthiness is something that you create on your own within you, or is it something that you're asking other people to kind of fill up your cup for you?
Right.
And if it's something that you are waiting for other people to fill up your cup for you, you'll be at the mercy of somebody else's metric for the rest of your life.
It's true. It's true.
And the flip side is, if you understand that worthiness is something that's inherent, nobody can add to it or diminish it, that's when you kind of become unstoppable.
Yeah.
Because I am worthy no matter what. And now how I show up in the world is just how I show up in the world. But that's not related to my worthiness.
Yeah.
And then I'll take it one step farther. And then I want to hear how this is landing for you, if it's landing for you.
Yeah.
When I'm no longer worried about being better than other people, but I'm only worried about how much am I nurturing my own worth, I show up in the world very different. And I'm no longer being compared to this other brand new therapist on Instagram and this other influencer and this other podcaster, because I'm no longer trying to beat them or have them fill up my cup.
Right.
And I'm becoming myself. And then, you know this, like I'm going to tell you this, the more you are yourself, the more your audience loves you, and the more people are attracted to you and want to be in your world, and you end up getting what you want by letting go of all the fears about other people and by only focusing on your experience of yourself.
So what's coming up for me is I remember that, or I am reminded that, like right now, I'm like, oh my God, wait, that's so true. Like, why do I do this? It keeps coming up again in my life. It comes up again and again, whether it's, and maybe that's something to do with certain people that I surround myself with, or the industry that I'm in, because it's competitive, and it's like, well, if you're not growing, then that's equals success to a lot of people. So I think like, it's like, how do you stay grounded and continue to remember that and like avoid feeling like you're not good enough?
I think worthiness for some people is a lifelong work, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
You don't just one day decide to wake up and you're like, oh, turns out I fixed my worthiness problem. We're good.
Yeah.
Bring it on,
We're
world.
done.
we have check that off the list.
Yeah.
And it's totally okay for it to be a lifelong work in progress. I would just say whenever you meet it with a lot of compassion. Whenever it shows up for you again, instead of saying, why is this happening for me, or why am I being blocked by this, say, oh, hi, you're showing up for me again. I love that you're here. Tell me what you want to tell me. And then it's just a moment where you remind yourself of your worth, and you almost make your worth brighter, not another moment where you're breaking yourself down.
What do you tell clients, in this case, literally me? Thank you for giving me free therapy.
Anytime.
I'm like, no, it's like when you come to those moments, aside from reminding yourself, are there affirmations? Like because I'm very like, I need a physical thing that I can do, an action I can take. What can I do when I meet those moments?
I'll give you an action after, but before I want to maybe talk about it a little bit more emotionally.
Yeah.
So usually what happens when we're met with these moments, usually we're reenacting some form of belief system from when we were kids, right? That you had to, or you felt like you had to prove something to someone in order to get love and affection or attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
You were a kid, you got a good grade, your dad said, good job. I always knew you were an A+ student. You were a kid, you didn't get a good grade, and your parents said to you, all right, you'll do better next time. But like, you studied your brains off, and you're like, what? I thought I was so proud of myself. I guess I shouldn't have been proud, right? So you're being met with this memory or this experience that I have to do something to get that love and affection and attention and care.
Yeah.
So in the moment, all you want to do is correct that experience.
Right.
And instead of forcing yourself to do anything, it's going to sound so cheesy, but I really mean it. If you meet yourself with love, you are having a corrective experience in the moment, and you're being that parent for yourself. You're being that person for yourself that no longer equates accomplishment with worth.
Yeah, it's so true.
So I'll tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Or I'll tell you what I do. I don't know what everybody does. I'll tell you what I do. But before you do anything, the most important part is to say, I don't need to do anything this moment. I just need to meet myself with grace and with compassion and with love.
Yeah.
Because in that, I'm fixing the whole problem.
Yeah. And that's a theme I've seen a lot through this series. it crosses over to so many other areas of life, even like talking about binge eating disorder and talking about eating. A lot of the time, like the answer is kind of to just give yourself compassion and do nothing for a second. Just literally sit with it.
Yeah. Because that's what having corrective experiences is all about.
Yeah. And also it's interesting, like growing up, I kind of had the opposite experience where I found myself like kind of, I mean, my parents are amazing, but I found myself parenting myself a lot as an eldest daughter, an older sister. Like I found myself, it was always, Carly's so fine. Yeah. She's so well behaved and she's just good. And that's another thing like I'm constantly working through. So I think that's what caused me to take on that like feeling needing to accomplish something for myself maybe.
For sure.
It's all connected to each other, I think.
For sure. And a lot of eldest who were naturally really good at life and able to life really well without their parents' involvement end up kind of having this experience and end up having an experience of, do I not need help in the world? Like, is everything internal?
Right.
Am I supposed to? But then you're being met with things like, how do I choose my career?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know what it's like to get guidance and support in this if I've been doing everything my whole life by myself.
100%.
So for somebody like that, the fear could also be like, I don't know how to be in this moment alone. And I don't really think I'm meant to be in this moment alone. I just don't know how to truly ask for help or truly ask for things in these scenarios and in these moments that are bigger than me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. Like, I feel like the independence is sometimes crippling. Like, we constantly feel the need to self-correct. Mm-hmm. And it, just with like mental health, like things in general, I like think that eldest daughters always, I mean, not to generalize, but I find it to be true that we kind of always feel the need to kind of take it on ourselves. We need to resolve it ourselves.
I have I don't have my phone on me right now, but me and my sister were DMing and she sent me like she's gonna kill me. She sent me like an oldest daughter like reel and she's like, or like a carousel. She's like, swipe through. And I swiped through. I'm like, we have a lot to talk about on the couch this weekend.
Oh my God.
And it was really
so
funny.
No, and for those who are listening, my sister's here listening. And it's so like we have the most extreme version of like the big little sister dynamic because she's 6 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So it's really funny and really interesting. But I think like as we get older, it's nice to kind of like take a page from each other's book. And I think like that's a good lesson for any sisters, like to talk about your experiences you had growing up and share that and then be able to, I learned so much from her now. Like I truly do. Like she's made me better in so many ways. It's true. Don't be emotional, Chloe. It is true. So I think that like for older siblings, it's a good way to kind of.
That was so older sister. Don't be emotional. And then the little sister being like,
no, literally, she's so emotional.
That's me and my big sister too, don't worry.
So, wait, are you young?
I'm the younger.
You're the younger?
I'm the youngest girl.
Okay.
And then there's, I have a baby brother under me. But yeah, she's the oldest in the family. And then,
Love. Yeah. It's like.
It's a funny dynamic.
It's so funny.
We're very close.
Yeah, it's the best. It truly is the best, but it's really funny like going through those different things. So, okay, I want to get back to self-worth. So, did we talk about the action? What action can we take?
We didn't talk about the action.
Okay. And if the answer is no action, like I will take that.
It can be no action. I think I would challenge you to try that with no action, but I'm going to share something that I do that a lot of people, I don't think I've ever said this out loud to anyone. So here we go.
Slay.
It's so simple, but it can sound really woo-woo again. I'm sorry. Here we are. I one time met with this really like interesting spiritual guy, and I can't even describe him. He just kind of looked at me and like knew all of my energy just from looking at me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm a little freaked out. But he said to me, whenever you're feeling like a lot and you need to just get yourself back to who you are, take your hand, put it on your heart, and say, here I am. And which was also weird because, again, he read all my energy. Like, I really was very against like affirmations in the beginning of my career because I didn't understand how they worked. And I think most people don't understand how they work, so we can talk about that in a second. The only affirmation that worked for me or that I liked was the one that was just simple, I am. And it always just brought me back to myself, to the moment. It's like anything that's happening around me can be happening, but like I am here too.
Yeah.
I'm an active player in this moment, and I can participate in whatever way feels right for me. So now when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I kind of combined and I just do this and I say, here I am.
I like that.
And it's really helped.
Yeah. I am such an affirmation person.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I asked. Like, everyone is different in the way that they cope with things. And I need an action. I need to read something that I can repeat. Like, I don't know. That's just like.
But that's good. That means that your brain and body are working in tandem. And if it wasn't like that for you, you probably would have a lot of things that were just living up here that you couldn't bring out into the world. So I would run with that.
Yeah.
If actions really help you, as long as they're grounding actions and they're not more things on your list that you have to perform, then allow your brain and your body to work in tandem because that's a really helpful thing to do.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So when you're feeling stuck and like when you're in this kind of spiral of perfectionism, how do we get unstuck? Like, what are the first steps that we take? And I know that like we talk a lot about childhood and like what we went through, but like what else? Is there anything else that's like something that you do in your practice, something that you talk about in your practice that you can do and take with you?
It's so funny. In my practice, I barely talk about childhood. We get there because it's absolutely important, but that's like not what I lead with.
That's interesting.
I like to get the history. I get an understanding.
Yeah.
And then I kind of say, okay, what's happening for you in your world right now? Where's perfectionism stopping you in your life right now? What is it driving and what is it stopping? And let's focus on those two things so we can play to your strengths and heal the weaknesses. So I say all that because I'm a very behaviorally based therapist. DBT, CBT, exposure therapy, love.
That's what works best for me too.
And by the way, for most people, and it's not like sexy and fun anymore.
It's like, it's funny. I think that people think of therapy as just like talk about things, but like what I've been doing recently is very like CBT based, and it's been the most transformative experience for me ever.
Yes, exactly. And of course talking, and of course empathy, and of course compassion and understanding 100%. And intuition. Yes, that should go without saying, by the way. Like, this is therapy. Yeah. You know, this isn't like a science lab. So that should go without saying, but I have seen people transform so dramatically with these behavioral tools. And I wish I could like get on a little soapbox and just give like a little pep talk to therapists.
You literally can give it right now.
Okay, hey guys.
There are so many therapists listening. Like,
there are foundations of therapy that will change your clients' lives. Once you have those foundations, I promise you can get crafty and use the fun things like IFS and EMDR and all the really interesting eclectic modalities. But if you know the foundations, 100% you're going to change your practice as a clinician and you're going to change your clients' lives. And if you skip those foundations, like, you're doing them a massive disservice. If you don't give them the building blocks, they're going to be running on empty for a long time and trying to fill up their toolbox with things that aren't really hitting home.
Right.
So what do I do with clients with perfectionism and anxiety?
Yeah.
First, we get to the root. We understand, what is your fear? What is your personal, what I call like focus of apprehension? Carly, what does that perfectionism mean for you? Like, what is the crisis that it's bringing up for you that we can target? And then we do a lot of exposure therapy to that target.
Interesting.
And a lot of people are uncomfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah. A lot of people don't want to tolerate the fact that they're humans and part of the human condition is imperfection. And most people don't want to admit that they don't have control. Those are like the three things that I see people really grappling with. And that fear and that tension keeps them so stuck. And so those are the 3 points that I help people actually learn how to dive into. I'm like, I want you to love discomfort. Yeah. I want you to love uncertainty.
So what are you actually doing? Like, what is the exposure?
So it depends on what their blockage is. If somebody's exposure is being imperfect, we will do exposures to being imperfect. Walk into the room with your hair looking like a mess. Send me an email that has typos. Yeah. Whatever it is at the imperfection. And I know these sound menial, but they're not. Yeah. Because it's not about the exposure itself. It's about the feeling that it creates for you. Right. And right now, people with perfectionism are like, they're kind of allergic to this feeling of being imperfect. That feels like the devil.
Yeah. It's so true.
So I'm like, how do I help you become friends with that feeling so that when you want to do something and imperfection is stopping you, you look back at it and you say, imperfection, we're friends.
Right.
You'll come on the journey with me. It's no problem.
Yeah. And I also think like something that comes up for me, and I think probably a lot of people, when you're doing the perfectionism work, you almost like don't want to do it. Like the willingness is only half there or a little there, or you don't even realize that you're a perfectionist. And then you start like introducing, oh, this is happening. Do you see that a lot?
For sure.
Because I feel it, like.
For sure. And the clinical language, and sorry to get a little jargony
No,
here.
you should. I love it.
Is something called ego syntonic versus ego dystonic. Have you heard these terms before? Okay, so when something is ego dystonic, it's like a feeling or an experience I have that really doesn't like jive with me. Like, I don't know why this feeling is here. A lot of people with OCD have this experience. They have a thought, an intrusive thought. What if I like hurt that person? And they're like, oh my God, why did I have that thought? That's so weird. Get that thought out of my head. Yeah. Right? That's ego dystonic. It's not a representation of me. And if anything, it kind of freaks me out because it's so not me.
Yeah.
The opposite is something called being ego syntonic, which means the thoughts and the feelings that I'm having actually feel like they're genuinely a part of my value system. When we have thoughts and feelings that we actually believe and are so like intrinsic to who we are as a person at our core, we don't naturally want to change them, even if they're getting in the way of our life.
Yeah.
And perfectionism is at the top of the list.
I like see it. I think of like everyone in my life that I feel like is kind of a perfectionist, and I feel the like their urge to, or not the urge, the like refusal to kind of, it's like, I don't want to stop doing this. I even went through this kind of in my recovery with my disordered eating issues. Like, well, I don't want people to look at me like I'm not perfect, and you know, whatever it may be. Like,
and I want to have control.
Yeah.
I want to, and then fill in the blank, which makes it so much harder to move through it. And it takes a lot of strength to heal perfectionism. It takes a lot of strength.
Yeah.
People think it's like, you know, like the applauded disorder. And I'm like, 100%. You have no idea how much this stops people from living, and also how much it stops like certain parts of life.
Yeah, it's so true.
You know?
I really do like see it, even just, again, like bringing up career, because that's just what's top of mind for me. I mean, think of people who want to start social media, for example. There's a lot of perfectionists out there that don't want to start because it has to be perfect in order for them to start, or every single video has to be exactly how they want it. You'll never grow.
By definition, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you
please.
You will never grow. And I think like by definition, you have to be willing to suck.
That's so scary.
at everything that you want to do, you have to have that willingness. And it is really scary.
Yeah.
Like that reaction, it was so real. Like that's really a part of your core that feels like the most terrifying thing. Like why on earth would I do that?
Yeah. I want to get into relationships and friendships because this shows up a lot, I feel like. Okay, let's talk about friendships first. How can it show up in friendships?
I just want to leave that other part on like a bit of a higher note. Like it sucks, but once, and then we'll get to friendships.
Yeah, please.
It sucks, but once you do it, you feel the most freedom that you've ever felt.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that, honestly. I should have rounded that out.
Do you know what I mean? No, it's perfect because it's also very real. It's almost like guttural. Like there's this visceral feeling of that's so not something I want to do.
Yeah.
But when you break through and you get to the other side of that scary thing or that imperfection or whatever it is, you get the things in life that you want and that are actually probably destined for you.
It's true.
And you feel a level of freedom that you would never feel if perfectionism was still the thing, kind of like maneuvering your life behind the scenes.
Yeah, because for me it was, I had that when it came to social media for a long time. Like when I was in college and trying to start, I could never just start, or I could never be consistent because like I had to wait for that like insane amount of motivation, which by the way for most people never comes. Like,
correct.
That's like a crazy thing if we just waited for every time we were like insanely motivated. Yeah. But finally when I was like, you know what, like I'm not going to be perfect, I'm just going to do. And like TikTok actually helped me with that because TikTok's very like, just be off the cuff, do whatever. Yeah. That's what like kind of was the exposure for the perfectionism.
I think social media is like one of the best exposures.
Yeah, it truly is.
Yeah.
So it is true. You can be very successful if you are able to just put it out there and say no to what your belief system was before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Back to
friendships.
friendships.
Back to friendships, back to relationships. I mean, like, I'm going to keep using personal examples because it's just I think it helps to, like, for other people to be able to see themselves in it. When it comes to friendships, I feel this, like, trying to always be the best for everyone, trying to always show up for everyone in the perfect way, saying everything in the group chat the right way, like, ooh, people are judging me because it didn't come out right, everyone hates me. Can you talk about why that is kind of linked? And maybe a little, it's social anxiety as well, but.
I was about to say, emotions don't discriminate.
Yeah.
How you show up in one place in your life very often is how you will end up showing up in another place in your life, even if it's not like that off the bat.
Yeah.
So even if in the beginning of a friendship, you're like, oh my God, she accepts me, she loves me, I could be myself. Slowly but surely, those same underlying patterns will creep in.
Yeah.
And if you're a people pleaser here, you're going to be a people pleaser there. And that's why it's like, if you're perfectionistic with work or something else, to me, it's not surprising at all that it would show up with the people that you love most and who are part of your inner world.
Yeah. And with like relationships too, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's and how does self-comparison tie into that as well?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying earlier. There's like the internal stuff and then there's the comparison stuff, and they're very related.
Yeah.
By the way, I work with a lot of people with relationship OCD, which is something that
I have it, and we talked about it on this series.
Yes. Okay, amazing. And right, like that's this.
It is.
And you could have such beautiful relationships in your life and feel so grateful for them, and then this really terrible like thing kind of creeps in.
Yeah.
That threatens to like ruin it all. And it's really heavy and it's really scary.
Yeah.
But that's like another form, I would say, like on the other side of the spectrum that we were talking about earlier, in like the OCPD, relationship OCD, like that kind of world.
So it is linked
to
perfectionism, or it's just part. Yeah.
Again, the roots of anything anxiety related, perfectionism, control.
Yeah.
Like all these like big keywords that are that kind of are at the root of them.
And do you find it in like a certain type of person? Like, I don't know, like I find that high achievers, for example, like it kind of like goes hand in hand.
There's an amazing book that I read by a guy named Gary Trustclair. It's called...
If you can't remember, I'm going to have it in the show notes. So don't worry.
Amazing. Something, taking the wheel of the driven personality.
Okay.
The healthy compulsive.
Okay.
Taking the wheel of the driven personality.
Interesting.
It's written about OCPD. So like people with obsessive compulsive personality disorder.
What's the difference between OCD and OCPD?
That's a great question. So OCD is really geared towards a specific obsession and that, or like an obsession with an attached compulsion. So like contamination, obsessions, like illness, anxiety. It could be relationship OCD, things that kind of like attach to a certain topic. It could be harm OCD, things like that.
Okay.
OCPD is the whole entire experience of your life is linked to intrusive, repetitive thoughts.
Gotcha.
And the related compulsions to it. Since I have this thought, I have to do this thing. And it's more like, here's the comparison. A specific phobia is on one side and generalized anxiety is on another side. OCD is on one side and OCPD is on another side.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like a much more generalized version of obsessions and compulsions and just like really being controlled by your thoughts and by your actions.
Interesting.
Surrounding control and perfectionism and things like that.
Okay, interesting. I'm glad you clarified because I actually wasn't sure when you were talking about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. And that's probably not the best description, but
no, it's helpful.
So anyway, this book is all about people with OCPD, but he also, the title is about taking the wheel of the driven personality.
Gotcha.
So yes, I do think people that have a lot of drive that you can see externally have this, and also people who have a lot of drive internally but are still very stuck might also really struggle with the perfectionism and with the control. Yeah.
So if you're recognizing it, let's say just in the relationship aspect, like where do you go from there? And also, is it worth it to like talk to people in your life about it?
I mean, definitely the people in your romantic life, because in my experience, that's where it's come out the most. But there's a lot of exposure work for that too.
What is it?
So the exposure work is, again, you go back to what's my core fear here? Like, is my core fear that I've chosen the wrong partner? Is my core fear that he's never going to love me enough? Is my core fear that I'm going to do something terrible, or not terrible, but he's just going to leave me one day in the middle of the night and I won't see it coming. And whatever that fear is, you do an exposure to that.
Okay.
Oh, it's really hard. This is like the hardest work. Yeah. But again, it's very freeing because once you break through to that other side, you're like, oh, this fear no longer controls me. If my partner leaves me in the middle of the night, that will be so unfortunate. I'll cry. I'll miss him. I'll love him.
And then you'll be okay.
And then I'll be okay, right? And
I mean, there's a lot of steps between that.
But once you have that assurance that you can handle it, that fear no longer has to rule your life.
What happens like mentally when you're taking those moments like of exposure and you're slowing it down in your brain? Like, what is actually happening?
People would say it's torture.
Real.
I've been called the torture doctor of the U too many times, and I'm saying it out loud, but that's the truth.
I think it's important for people to like know what to expect and also know what to like look for, because like when you're doing these things, I feel like you think mentally that like, oh, it's going to be a relief, but like in reality, everything is probably gets worse before it gets better.
Certainly in the moment. We use something called the SUDS scale. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Subjective units of distress scale.
Okay.
Which means like how much distress will this thing bring up for you, Carly? To face this particular fear, how much distress will that bring up for you? That could be a 60, a 70, an 80, a 90, right? 100 is like the Mecca. It's like the worst thing. You don't ever want to have to deal with that. Yeah. It's like and then we face it systematically. And whenever you do an exposure, usually what happens is your fear actually gets higher, which is good because it means you're riding the full wave of the experience.
Interesting.
You're not blocking your emotion. You're not controlling your emotion. And most perfectionists struggle with controlling their emotion.
Right.
It's a disorder of what we call over-control. So whereas other disorders are, like, for example, somebody with borderline personality disorder, that's an example of like under control. Because
is that like a real term? Under control? Yeah. That's a term?
Yeah, under control and over control. So people with OCPD and perfectionism and things in that category usually have over control. I'm trying to control everything. I'm trying to control outcomes. I'm trying to control myself. I'm trying to control my food. I'm trying to control my image. I'm trying to control my followers count. But I'm also trying to control my emotions. Yeah. You'll come when I allow you to come, and you'll leave as soon as I tell you to go. Right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work like that.
Yeah.
So when we do an exposure, we actually say you don't control your feelings. Let them rise.
Yeah.
And emotions are like waves. What goes up must come down. And when you let something rise fully, it will eventually fall. And that's where that relief comes in. But first you have to be willing to face the feeling in its entirety.
Right, which is the scariest part.
Yeah.
And how long do you do these exposures? Like how long, I know it's different for everyone, but how long, if someone is trying to get over one specific thing, do you feel like they have to go at it again and again before feeling some type of relief or feeling less of that perfectionism?
What I'll say is that as much as you're able to put in, you're going to get out. And so for my patients that practice between sessions, they make progress really quickly. Yeah. And for people who just want to do it in the therapy room, that's totally fine, but it's going to take a bit more time. What's important to know is that you will get there. Like that emotion will rise and then it's going to fall. And I've worked with so many patients doing exposure therapy, and I had one patient who used to say, "What is this witchcraft? What is this witchcraft you're doing on me? How come it always works? How come anxiety always goes away?" And I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would no longer have this fear, but suddenly it's like at a 10 or 20, and it's, 2 days ago it was at a 90.
Yeah. I feel this feeling when I'm bored or when I'm forcing myself to do nothing. It's a Sunday. I'm like trying to relax, but I feel like I'm failing at life.
Yeah.
How do we overcome that? Where does that come from? And I assume it's kind of that same root.
I mean, I think it's probably totally the same root.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I know that.
Yeah. If I'm not accomplishing, where is my worth? If I'm not accomplishing, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I have to constantly work to prove myself to others, to prove myself to me. So what I would say to that is that person's exercise is to learn how to stay in those moments. But here's the key. And again, it's going to sound woo-woo, but if you can do it, you'll understand it. Love yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people can like force themselves to do nothing, but not as many people can force themselves to do nothing and say, I have just as much worth right now as I do when I am cranking out 15 pieces of content.
And it's the black and white thinking too.
Yeah.
That I find so often comes up. It's like, we're either having a work day, like I'm very like, we're having a work day, or we're like having a rot day. And like in my brain, like they separate so vastly.
And that's okay if that's working for you.
It's not working for you. Is it working for anyone? Like,
I don't think so. So what I was going to say is maybe we have like, I mean, we can call them rot moments, but we can also call them just like moments of relaxation and of regrouping and refreshing throughout the day. But if your system doesn't find those valuable or doesn't honor them, then you're not going to let yourself do them. And then your body's going to burn out and you're going to require a 24-hour rot period, which can be a little disruptive sometimes. Yeah. So I would say for you, practice taking like 15 minutes to do nothing. Practice eating meals without your phone or your computer. Yeah. Practice going on a walk for no purpose and not telling anyone and just regrouping on your own and see how your nervous system feels and see if you burn out a little less. Yeah. And it's also like the inner, I just feel like the inner critic is like constantly going, and it's like a matter of being kinder to yourself in those moments. It's for sure. But it's so hard to actually do. Like it's so hard to finally be able to be like, no, we're going to like love ourselves like in this moment too. That's where the work is. Yeah. That's exactly like, if that's your biggest point of tension, then that's exactly where your work should be. It's not just not doing anything. It's not doing anything and loving myself at the same time. Yeah. And it's, I think also like an overarching question is like, do people that have perfectionism feel like they're ever going to be enough? Like, is it possible to ever feel like that? And I know in the beginning you said like it's a lifelong thing, but is it possible to feel that? Because I've never found, like I kind of feel it at moments, and maybe that's the key. It's leaning into the moments where you feel it. For sure, leaning into the moments where you feel it. But as somebody who is one of those people that I had no idea I had perfectionism. I'm like, guys, I'm the last person to be a perfectionist because I do everything wrong. I'm like, nothing I do is good enough. Nothing I do is perfect. If you look at my stuff, nothing is perfect. And then I'm like, right? That means I'm not a perfectionist. And then I don't remember who told me this, but somebody was like, no, that's the definition of just like literally never thinking that you're good enough or that nothing is, solidified enough or whatever. So as somebody who has struggled with that in a big way in my life and being in the place where I am now, I can tell you with a lot of assurance and certainty that it is so possible. Yeah. And my relationship with myself and my relationship with my worth is so different now, so different. And for me, that's been the biggest game changer of all. Yeah. So for you, because you're definitely a high achiever, but I definitely, would you agree? I would agree that I have a very strong, driven personality. Okay. Yeah. That's a good way. And I like to do a lot of things. Yeah. So what does that look like? What is being like a strong but healthy? What does that look like? So first of all, I do a lot more things for myself now, meaning, I do things for myself too, but I do a lot of the things that I do it for me versus for the external world. Yeah. If I'm writing something for Instagram, I'm writing it because it spoke to me. I love that. Versus I want somebody else to like it and I want to heal somebody else. And if I don't, then it was meaningless. I think that's like, everyone needs to take that and like put it in their pocket. Put it in the pocket. It's really true. Like everything that you do, I find when you're a perfectionist, or for me, like you're constantly, what do they want? What do they want? What do they want? But I posted today like 6 questions to ask yourself to get to know yourself better or something like that. And one of them was, if nobody could ever see another one of your accomplishments or accolades, what would you drop in your life right now? Ooh. Whoa. No more followers. No more certificates. Yeah. No more degrees. Yeah. What would change about your life right now? That's like crazy because like it really does make you think. It really does. And hopefully a lot of the things that you're doing in your life you would want to keep doing anyway, irrespective of it. But it makes you think like, what am I doing for them versus what am I doing for me? Yeah. And how am I doing it? If it was for me, like, would I do it with a lot more softness, a lot more ease, a lot more gentleness? Would it be more raw? Would it be more radical, you know?
And a lot of the time, because my mind always goes here, you end up being more successful that way because people love that. And not that that's the point of the conversation, but I think I think that, like, it's nice to know that sometimes when you actually lean into, I'm a good example of it. Like, I kind of stopped doing a lot of the things I was doing before to do more of the things that were just going to fill my cup. And it's life-changing. It truly is. Because when you asked that question, I thought to myself, honestly, I don't think I would change anything.
That's perfect.
I mean, there's some things, I'm sure if I really thought about it, but like when I'm thinking of the general pillars of my career and my life, I think it makes you be like, oh, this is,
That's beautiful. That's a very aligned life you're living.
Yeah.
You know?
Hope so.
And then you can keep asking yourself that more deeply. Like, how, and I know I just said this, but like, how would I be doing things?
Yeah.
And would perfectionism have as much of a voice if I was truly doing it for me and if other people truly couldn't see what the outcome is?
Yeah. I'm like trying to actually genuinely ask myself this. I'm like, would I want, it's interesting to ask yourself, would I want these accolades? Would I be going for those? Is it possible that you still would?
For sure.
Because you just want it for yourself?
Yeah. And that's absolutely a beautiful thing.
Okay.
And again, then that question becomes like, am I doing it in the way that's soft and authentic and not full of perfectionism? Because if nobody could see the result and it's only for me, who am I comparing myself to?
Yeah, it's so true. Are those kind of all of the things that embody to you what like a healthy drive is?
So yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest things for me. And then I think the other thing that's changed for me a lot is kind of moving fast and slow. When I lived in New York, I only knew how to move fast.
Yeah.
And I love moving fast.
Yeah.
I have so many ideas. There's so many things I want to do. Like, honestly, this is my personality.
Agreed.
And it lifts me up.
Yeah.
I feel so excited.
Yeah.
I can nerd out about so many things.
Me as well.
And then I moved to LA and I had this whole different experience. I'm like, does anybody move here? Does anybody work? I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
It's crazy.
It was a very different experience for me. In the beginning was so rough. And it took me time to understand, like, it's so rough because I don't know how to slow down.
Yeah.
And that's not an LA problem, that's a me problem.
True.
So I had to learn how to move fast, but also to slow down. And that helped me immensely too. And it was so interesting because you would think that once you start slowing down, things in your life slow down too. But it had the exact opposite effect. And because I was more grounded, more present, more loving, more regulated overall, a lot of the things just started feeling so much more energized, and the metrics ended up catching up too, which I didn't do it for that purpose, but it was a nice bonus.
Yeah. And I like that, the moving fast and slow, because I think maybe not everyone, but for me at least, I think I benefit from that. Yeah. It's like those doses of the chaos and the like the dopamine and everything. But then the softness, sometimes it's like when I go home to New Jersey with my parents and I'm like, I'm chilling. And then all of a sudden I'm flooded with these ideas and I feel creative and I feel free. So I think that's kind of a beautiful balance.
The days that I do nothing are the days that I have my best ideas.
Me too.
Like without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Me too.
If I didn't have Saturdays where I do nothing, a lot of things in my practice would not be what they are.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
If someone feels exhausted all the time and they're listening right now from just like their perfectionism, what is like one thing that you would want them to take away and want them to hear?
I would want them to know that life does not have to feel this way. And even if they've been feeling this way their entire life, there is a whole different set of people and a whole different set of healing that can actually change your entire experience on this earth. And each one of us owes it to ourselves to get to that place of healing and groundedness. So if you're in therapy, make sure you're doing therapy well with all your heart. And if you're not in therapy, try. Yeah. Because it could truly change your inner world and that will reflect in your outer world too.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you so much for this conversation. Truly, like, it was so healing for me too. And I hope that like people resonated with some of the things that I was actually talking about struggling with.
These are so human. I'm so grateful that you were like very raw, because I think a lot of people feel this and don't know how to voice it or don't know who to voice it to. So I love that we talked about all the things.
Me
this
too.
was amazing.
Tell everyone where they can find you and about your practice and everything so they can go follow you after.
Amazing. Yeah, if anybody's looking for therapy, I'm also always happy to chat. My number is 646-494-2653. People could call or text. And then my handle is therapist in NYC. And if people prefer to email, it's just Aliza, ALIZA, at therapyinthecity.org.
Amazing. I'm like, your phone's going to be blowing up after this.
I can't wait. Call me for all the therapy.
Also, tell me what else you have going on. What's in the pipeline for you?
Ooh, so one of my very special projects is very near and dear to my heart. We've been working this for like probably 10 months to a year at this point, is a training program for therapists.
That's amazing.
Anybody can really take it, but it's geared towards therapists. And we were talking earlier about those foundations that I'm like, let me tell all the therapists, as long as you know this, you're going to be setting yourself up for success. So we've actually compiled those into 2 separate trainings across like 4 different tiers that people can join and kind of be a part of the Therapy in the City training program, which is amazing. And I'm so excited.
Amazing. Oh my God.
And then in the final tier, we're doing like an all-in inner circle vibe where I'm actually going to be giving like consultation, and we're going to be having group consultation. So I get to work with therapists across the world. And I can't wait for it to come out.
That's amazing. Congratulations. There's so many therapists that listen to this.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
incredible.
They're going to be really, really excited to hear. And as a baby therapist, I'm literally going to participate too.
Okay. Amazing. I feel like I'm bragging, but I'm not even trying to brag. It's really powerful. I am like so excited for this to be birthed into the world.
That's amazing. I'm so excited to see it.